Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for the 32nd Annual State of Downtown Boise, the annual meeting for the Downtown Boise Association. Welcome to JUMP. It's a wonderful, beautiful facility if you have not been in here before. Take time afterwards to walk around and look at it. Welcome to our honored speakers today in the front row here. We look forward to hearing from you in just a few minutes. And welcome to an event that celebrates this truly amazing city and the dynamic downtown that we are fortunate enough to work in and call home. I'm Mindy Gronbeck. I'm the Director of Property Management at Hawkins Companies, and this year I'm the President of the Downtown Boise Association Board of Directors. On behalf of the board, staff, members, and merchants of the Downtown Boise Association, allow me to thank the organizations who helped make this great event for our downtown possible. Thank you, Mayor Beater and his staff, our city council members, and all of the dedicated employees of the city of Boise. The downtown business community very much appreciates city leadership recognizing the value of a clean, safe, and vibrant downtown brings to the building business and the community throughout the city. I want to thank the Capital City Development Corporation, also a great staff and board that we get to work with, and their executive director, John Brunel. Cindy and the team at the Idaho Business Review, thank you. Kay Hill and his folks at BizPrint, we would like to thank you for helping with this event. And the Grove Hotel, John, Vicki, and the Grove staff. Our friends at Holland & Hart, who are your hospitality sponsors today, including Dba Board Member Dean Bennett. And last but not least, the great staff here at JUMP. Kathy O'Neill and your team, you've done a great job for our event today. The next item that I need to share with you is very, very important, so listen up. The bars will be open during the entire meeting today. So hopefully that's a good thing for you. It is Wednesday, it's almost Friday, and how warm is it going to be on Friday? 80 degrees. That's enough to celebrate a drink today, I think. So please feel free to get up for another beverage and enjoy. The bars will stay open for networking after the event as well until about 5:30. With our theme today being all things Idaho food related, we did something a little different for you. It's a little unique bento box that you should have found on your seat. Please enjoy these bento boxes from the amazing and creative chef here at JUMP, Anna Tapia of Thomas Cuisine. In your boxes, you will find house-smoked Idaho lamb bacon bites sourced from Lava Lakes Farm in Haley, Idaho. Grilled Ballard Farms halloumi cheese and grissini breadsticks from the Ballard Family Dairy in Gooding, Idaho, and Zapoli Bakery in Boise. Beetroot cured Idaho trout pinwheels sourced from Clear Springs Trout in Buell, and a mashed Idaho potato chocolate truffle. I'm hungry now. Oh, okay. Whether it's a global agribusiness from the J.R. Simplot Company to Clear Springs Trout and Buell, today we're sharing appreciation of the amazing value Idaho brings literally right to our tables. We have a great program coming up, but as this is our DBA annual meeting, we have a little business to take care of first. Our first order of business is to accept the election of incoming directors. On January 25th, the Dba Board Nominating Committee, as prescribed by our bylaws, opened nominations to fill open board positions. This year's nominating committee was chaired by myself and included members of the DBA Executive Committee. The committee submitted to the DBA a board of list of 4 nominees. The DBA board accepted that slate at its March meeting, and it was subsequently sent out to the entire DBA membership for approval. If you are here today, please stand as I call your name. Just elected and joining us for their first term are Molly Ledbetter, owner of Merriwest Cider. Thank you, Molly. Hi. Stay standing. Jeremy Averman, owner of Solid Bar and Grill, Liquid Laughs and Comedy Lounge. Hi, Jeremy. Welcome. Jay Story, broker and owner at Story Commercial. Jay, are you here today? Okay. And Kelsey Miller, owner of Shift Boutique and Keystone Station. Hi, Kelsey. First, congratulations on your opening of your new Walla Walla store. That's absolutely awesome, and it really speaks well to the success of your store here in Boise as well. And stay standing for just 1 second. And also elected to a second term on the board is Wes Jost, Senior Vice President and Director of Zions Bank, Idaho Real Estate Banking Group. Wes, are you here? Yes. Hi, Wes. So join me in giving our newly elected and second term Dba Board Members a round of applause. Thank you. Words cannot describe the appreciation that we have for outgoing members of the Dba Board of Directors. These 3 members have each given leadership to our downtown, serving more than 6 years with the board. If these retiring board members would stand, Dan Bailiff of City Peanut Shop, past Dba Board President. Hi, Dan. Alan Ireland of Pengelly's and the Neurolex. Alan. And Jeff Wolf of the Car Park. Jeff, you here? Okay. Gentlemen, thank you for your dedication to our city and all of your contributions to the Dba board. Now, would all of the Dba board members elected, ex officio, and advisories please stand? There's a lot of you here, so you should be, there we go. All up here, good job. Okay, their names are on your program at your seat. Please join me in thanking them for their service to our downtown community and to our city. The DBA is a terrific, diverse, and actually really fun group of people who love their city, love our downtown, and give their talents and energy to see it prosper. Thank you, and I've thoroughly enjoyed working with every single one of you. The hardworking staff of the DBA makes it all happen, from Alive After 5 to the city tree lighting to Dine Out Downtown Boise, one of my favorites, by the way, Small Business Saturday and First Thursday, to street side banners, sidewalk planners, to selling downtown Boise gift cards and coordinating the marketing campaigns. They too bring a passion and commitment to fulfill the DBA mission of creating value through vibrancy and building both business and community in the heart of Boise, our dynamic downtown. Office manager, and please stand as I call your name. That doesn't say that, but I want them to stand. So, office manager Suzanne Ostro. She's probably out front. Oh, okay. Okay, she's back there. Marketing manager Jordan Erdeles. They're back in the back. Events and program manager Carly May. Also clear back in the back. Business relations and development manager Heather Lyle. And of course, executive director Lynn Hightower. Definitely. Thank you so much for everything that you do for our town. In 2016, the Downtown Boise Association created the Cooley Award to recognize significant contributions to Boise's downtown and to the mission of the Downtown Boise Association, which is to create value through vibrancy. Mike Cooley, race director for the Twilight Criterium, was honored that year to mark his 30th year with that tremendous downtown community event. The award was subsequently been referred to as the Coulee Award. The Coulee has since been presented to two DBA founders, Gary Smith, formerly of the Mode Department Stores, and Gary Mon, founder of Fisher's Office Products, now Fisher's Technology. This year, the Downtown Boise Association Board of Directors would like to present the 2019 Coulee Award to Boise Police Officer Jim Scheffler. Officer Jim and Lynn, will you please come up on stage? If you could have seen his face, you would have known it was a complete surprise. So, Officer Schiffler has served for 9 years as the Downtown Neighborhood Contact Officer for the City of Boise Police Department. He brings not only his expertise in providing quality police services, but his unique and personable approach and style to resolving downtown issues. Serving the downtown community requires an individual willing to give each business owner, employee, resident, and visitor the kind of attention that leaves each one of us feeling respected and reassured when receiving superior customer service, and sometimes from someone just willing to listen. I personally have him on speed dial, so. Officer Schiffler has provided that quality of service in such a variety of situations we don't have time to even begin to list them. Officer Schiffler is a problem solver, a reliable confidant, and to many of us, a friend. Officer Schiffler, on behalf of the members, merchants, board, and staff of Downtown Boise Association, please accept the 2019 Cooley Award with our sincere and heartfelt appreciation.
Got to pose for a photo, pose for a photo.
I hope somebody got that on video. That was just so awesome. So, thank you. As an employee of Hawkins Companies, I'm extremely proud that Hawkins Companies chose downtown Boise for their corporate headquarters in 2007. We have been an active part of downtown Boise for over 12 years with projects like Trader Joe's, the Inn at 500, and the metamorphosis of Capitol Terrace to Main and Marketplace. We still have work to do at Main and Marketplace, but I can guarantee you, whether it be new upstairs tenants or updating the interior of Main and Marketplace, they will complement the vibrant downtown Boise that we all love. I have several opportunities throughout the year to bring colleagues from out of town into Boise. Some have never been to our great town, some have been, but not in recent years. I'm extremely proud every single time that I share downtown with them, because everywhere we go, they are absolutely in awe of our great city. I can show them great art, creative alleys, fun entertainment, great and unique food and drink, and great service everywhere we go. As many times as possible, I try to time the travel with downtown Boise events such as Alive After 5, First Thursdays, and the Twilight Criterium. Our downtown is so vibrant today, and it's unique members that are part of downtown that leads to its vibrancy. Members like City Peanut, Rediscovered Books, Goldie's, Ruby Lou's, Fancy Pants, Fork, Hannah's. I had to just list everything, so not everything, but I couldn't stop it. So anyway, the Funky Taco, Mixed Greens Juniper, the Balcony and the Still, they're all my favorites, so I had to get them in there, but I love all of downtown. So I particularly like that many of these have been here for generations, long enough that my 23-year-old son could not believe that I have been to Hannah's. And even more surprised that I had stories from Hannah's back in the day. So I, of course, would not share those. And Rocky, my friend, those are sacred between you and I, yes? That's right. So anyway, I strongly encourage you to get out and visit a store you've never been to, eat at a restaurant that might be new to you, attend Alive After 5, even though it might have been a while since you've been there, and make First Thursdays your new date night. In closing, I'd like to personally thank the staff of the DBA. This team of women are one of the main reasons that we have such a dynamic, thriving, and vibrant downtown. And I can tell you that their roles in the DBA are more than just a job to them. They are passionate and invested to make our downtown the best place to work, live, and play. Every single one of them works tirelessly to bring events, businesses, consumers, and cities to our great downtown. I said cities. That's because Lynn actually tours people from other cities on a pretty regular basis because we are that cool. Thank you, Carly, Jordan, Suzanne, Heather, and Lynn. And with that, I'd like to invite the Executive Director of the Downtown Boise Association to the stage, Lynn Hightower.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for all being here today. I am privileged to be on stage now in my 4th year as the Executive Director for the Downtown Boise Association. Thank you to all of our speakers. I'm looking forward to hearing from you today. Each of you could be the keynote, but it's happy hour. So we're just condensing a little bit, keeping things rolling so we don't lose anybody. But we are all going to hear from our speakers today, and I know you're going to enjoy what they have to say, because combined, they tell an important part of our downtown and our city's story. And that is our downtown's expanding culinary excellence. I almost called it emerging culinary excellence, but I thought, nope, it's already excellence, and that's growing. Our downtown food scene has become really so cool, so delightfully unique and engaging. It just seems like there's always something new to discover around the corner. But it's more than cool. It's crucial. It's critical to this economic activity here downtown, which really is the driver to and catalyst for economic development throughout the rest of our city and our region. And that's what the Downtown Boise does well, is connect community and business. Because what better way to grow business than to grow community around it, especially in the heart of this great city. So it is my privilege to introduce the Honorable Mayor of the City of Boise. Please welcome David Beater.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You can't see this, but we have timers on us. 5 minutes or a trap door opens up, and off we go. It's an honor for me to be here today to speak a little bit about downtown. I'm not only honored to speak about this topic, I feel qualified to speak about this topic. It wouldn't be a stretch to say this body sponsored by Downtown Restaurants. That wasn't supposed to be that funny, though. It's such a great time in Boise, and this is a great topic, and I commend the DBA for convening it. They also asked us to talk about our favorite thing downtown. If you thought I was going to pick one restaurant over another, or one business over another, or one part of downtown over another, you're sadly mistaken. I'm not the smartest politician there is, but I do know when not to pick things over the other thing. So, but it does give me a chance to talk about my favorite definition of what a city is. I found it years ago, and I still think it's the best expression of what a city is. And a city is an invention to maximize exchange of ideas, exchange of food, exchange of culture, to maximize exchange and minimize travel. That's what cities are. That's what defines us. But no part of the city of Boise, and here I am going to pick one part over the other, no part of the city of Boise exemplifies that better than downtown Boise, because you have those exchanges almost within an arm's length. You've got food, you've got business, you've got culture, you've got education, you've got ideas percolating, you've got high tech, you've got food. That's what downtown Boise is all about. That's what we all work so hard to bring more of. Really, that's what we want to bring all over the city. Maximizing exchange, minimizing travel. Those areas that do it best, 8th Street, the Bass Block, the Grove, the Live District. We work to keep those coming in the pipeline so more and more areas do that even better. And today, talking about food, we just want to mention a couple of things. You can't stand in, jump by the Simplot building without thinking about food at least and talking about food. I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a secret. I give an annual award for architecture around the city. A few years ago, I gave it to Jump. This year, I'm going to recognize the Simplot headquarters. So let's give it up for both Jump and the headquarters. We're so proud to have you downtown, and everything that you bring, and food is so important to you and to us. Obviously, Albertsons, Winco, food is central to the success of Boise. You know, it seems in legislative sessions, unfortunately, rural areas seem pitted against urban areas. And that's unfortunate because not only do we love rural areas, we depend on them. We wouldn't have the brewery scene we have here without our rural partners. We wouldn't have Simplot and Albertsons and all the great companies. In fact, when we started Trailhead, you're going to hear from one of their members here in a little while. When we started Trailhead, our incubator for new businesses, soon after that, we started Trail Mix, which is a focus on companies, new companies whose products are food. So we are overjoyed to have this topic, to have these companies, to have the vibrancy that we have here. In fact, if you've been in Idaho for very long, and I know a number of you have, your connection to the growing or cultivating of food or raising of animals can't be too far away. My grandfather was a sheep herder up in these foothills, and in Idaho, we have our that legacy to thank for the vibrancy of our cities, and the city of Boise in particular. So here's to great years. My time is up, but I'm right on the nose. Here's to many great years in downtown Boise and even better and better food. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hit the nail on the head. Well, the mayor and I did cross paths quite a bit last summer, as what Mindy said was, and I only half jokingly called, my new part-time job, which was downtown Boise tour guide and speaker to a variety of visiting groups from other cities all around the country. These were community leaders, busy people, who made time, got together, and traveled to Boise. And last summer, it seemed like the number of these visiting cities just exploded. It seemed like we had a new city visiting Boise every week. The chamber people are nodding. Yeah, they helped hope these people as well. So these visiting groups from cities, they came here, they wined and dined and toured and shopped and took notes. And although each group was just a little bit different, they all came for the same reason. They want what we have. They want what we have. They want what's outside these windows. And why would they not? It's beautiful. But it's less the skyline and more the sidewalks. They want that vibrancy, that cool factor that invites people to do business that generates revenue and flows to local business, to fund public services, and builds communities miles from our downtown core. Those other cities, they want this critical mass of economic activity. And what does that look like? It looks like our vibrant downtown nightlife, like our variety of dining and shopping options. They want a city center that has a preschool, an urban research university, and law schools. They want our clean, safe sidewalks that are abuzz with pedestrians and cyclists and parents pushing strollers alongside people in business suits. They want our green trees. They want our beautiful flower planters. They want that welcoming, successful, prosperous city center. That downtown with the economy that keeps building on itself and feeding and inviting new people who also want to live and work here and so on. Well, these other cities come to downtown Boise and they see a healthy downtown that they know is key to building a great city. And it's not growth for growth's sake. It's growth for jobs and opportunities and building a city with a future. Thanks that ranking from livability.com last week. I think I'm going to have to put my tour guide hat back on this summer. Livability.com again, or for the first time now, Boise is #1, the top place to live in the country. And yeah, people read that. Thank you, yeah. Hats off. We have smart people managing our growth, but it's a good discussion. We're going to hear a little bit of that discussion today. But the folks at Livability.com, they get their rankings by crunching numbers. And so we downtown did some number crunching of our own. And in your bags, behind your chairs, which are courtesy of our friends at the Department of Agriculture, by the way, thank you very much, there's some cool information in those bags, but on the top, you have a data sheet from downtown Boise. And let me just tell you a couple of the highlights. Downtown Boise is 2% of the city's land mass. It is 8% of the city's retail sales tax. 25% of the city's jobs are downtown, and 39% of knowledge jobs. And that's important because those are the folks who think for a living, like doctors and lawyers and software engineers. They're highly recruited employees, and they could live anywhere in the world, and they're choosing to live here. Livability.com says it's also our blue turf and Freak Alley Gallery, and it absolutely is. But I would also suggest that those numbers tell an even deeper story. And that's a story of the effort of a lot of people, and many of you in this room, who have spent years and dedicated yourself to building a great city from its heart out. And the only thing those visiting city leaders leave here disappointed about is that that vision for downtown Boise didn't start yesterday, because they're just figuring it out. But here in Boise, it started years and years ago. And that vision remained during good times and not so good times, when it would have been really easy to give in and give up. But today, we are experiencing the benefit of the folks who carried that vision. And downtown is, and those folks knew 30 years ago, that downtown can be the inspiration as well as the economic driver for a great city and indeed a great state. Well, helping collect the data on that one sheet and compiling a full report, I'm kind of a numbers wonk, so I like looking at it, are the students from Dr. Jillian Maroney's Urban Studies capstone class at Boise State University. And those students are here today. Please stand up, you guys. Would you please help me thank these? They are Urban Studies students. You guys did a great job. Thank you very much. Their report will be posted in full. A lot of great data. We're asked for it frequently. It will be on our website very soon. Our future is in good hands. Those kids were great to work with. So we have these great updated reports and a wonderful program like we'll present to you today. So what do you do with this? What do you do with this new information? Well, when you leave today, you're challenged. You're challenged to take this new or renewed awareness of what this great downtown community of chefs and architects and artists and CPAs and the value that it brings to building our entire city and really our entire state. And you're challenged to help us keep it. We worked hard for it. If we want to keep it, we need to support it in whatever way that works for you. It may be buying downtown Boise gift cards for your staff. It may be changing the way we talk about our downtown to reflect that awareness of the value this community brings, not better than another community, but to help enable and grow our entire community. As Executive Director of the Downtown Boise Association, I am proud to say that the DBA is strong. Our board members are active and engaged. Our staff is mission-focused on our core strengths, which are marketing, communications, promotional events, and we have a new staff member to help us build member relations and business development. Now please enjoy and learn from our program, and we have a surprise closing speaker. He is not on your agenda, but I think when you hear his journey, it will help us all understand even a little bit more about what we've created and where we're going. The Downtown Boise Association is proud to invite you to share and celebrate the state of our downtown and the culture, the community, and the connections we're building over food.
I believe that people were meant to be things, and I was meant to be a cowboy. We're in the cattle business. We've always been in the cattle business. It's just what we are. Well, I'm Bob Howard with Howard Ranches, and we're co-owners in Desert Mountain Grass-Fed Beef. Today we're here at McCall, which is 5,200 feet. We're loading cattle to go back to Grandview, where the climate is nice. And the cattle will continue to grow, and we'll be able to do that really good until after Thanksgiving there because of the climates. The grass-fed business now has allowed us to be sustainable and generational and regenerative, but everything we do is regenerative. At the end of the day, what I really like about the grass-fed business is the only thing we have in Idaho is grass. Grass grows here, cattle eat grass, you harvest the cattle, the grass grows again. And our main goal is to have cattle on the ground eating grass, making the grass grow on and on and on and on it goes. I have 11 grandchildren. Why wouldn't I strive to be regenerated? Everything for them guys.
The orchard that's been in my family since 1908 really sits in a very special place along the Snake River Canyon. It's nestled next to some waterfalls and a creek that is named after my great-grandfather, and it is a very peaceful, wonderful place to be. You come down to the orchard in the canyon and you have a sense of tranquility. So even though we might be in the Snake River Canyon, we have a great connection to Boise and the Grady area for lots of reasons. Through working at farmers markets, particularly the Boise Farmers Market, we have great relationships with other food lovers like Sherry and Justin of the Funky Taco. And when they started the restaurant, they decided they wanted to smoke their foods. And what's better than fruit wood to smoke your foods?
Yeah, so we started getting wood from Robin when we started the restaurant this past year in March, and we buy wood directly from her. She delivers it right to our back door, and it touches all of our food. We use the wood to smoke the majority of our food, and it permeates the restaurant, it permeates our food, and you can taste Robin's wood, and you can smell it when you walk through the door, and taste it in most of our dishes that we put out.
Because of our relationships with other food people within the city, we find ways to have other connections and relationships.
Celia Gold. Idaho's Director of Department of Agriculture has been making and building connections over food for years. Celia is an owner, operator of a fourth-generation farming and ranching operation, G+ Ranches. Celia has 2 degrees, including a Master of Public Administration from Boise State University. Prior to being appointed Director of Agriculture in 2007, she spent 16 years serving Idaho in the state legislature. We are honored to introduce the Director of Idaho Department of Agriculture, Celia Gold. Celia's favorite thing about downtown Boise is that it has a small town feel but offers big city amenities. And of course, she loves downtown, incredible food scene. Celia.
Thank you, Mindy. It's a pleasure to be here today. And to Lynn, you know, it's interesting to me. I think probably Boise might be the only urban area in the United States that would think to invite the Department of Agriculture to be part of their annual program. And I would also venture to say that is your success. That is the connectivity, and that's part of what makes you so great and why we all love Boise the way we do. Well, it's a great opportunity to be here, and I certainly am not going to be offended if anybody gets up to get food or drink, because that's my job, is to get as much of that out the door as we possibly can. Agriculture has been a lifelong passion for me, and it's deeply influenced almost every facet of my life. Idaho's economy was built on the legacy of our hardworking farmers and ranchers, and they're the folks that have cared for the land that feeds the world. Agriculture accounts for more sales in Idaho than any other single industry and produces the best ingredients in the world, and you all know that better than anyone. That foundation is fueling innovative industries and endeavors like our incredible culinary community. Whether you come from farming or not, you have to admit that agriculture is something that brings us all together, whether it's your families for an event or a simple evening out. I mean, what better common denominator is there than food? I would also argue that agriculture teaches us important lessons, and nobody tells that story better than the folks that you just saw in the video. Let's face it, farming and ranching are simply tough. The hours are exhausting, the labor can be backbreaking, and to top it off, the pay is pretty lackluster too. It's not exactly what you would put on a help wanted poster. Still, the hard work is meaningful, and it's something that we're all very proud of in agriculture. You saw the Kelly family on the video. That's a family that's very near and dear to my heart. I grew up with those folks and with Robin's dad, and that simply shows you, if you know their story, that it takes a lot of grit to survive in agriculture. It teaches us something else, that there's something way bigger than any of us, and that's that we're constantly dependent on Mother Nature and divine intervention. There are so many things that are simply outside of our control. So the forces that we deal with deal us setbacks from time to time, and when they do, our hearts are softened, our metal is galvanized, and we move on. Perhaps we do all this because agriculture allows us to bear witness to something miraculous. Sun, soil, water, and hard work create food. These experiences draw us closer to our surroundings and provide us an opportunity to be better stewards of the precious resources needed to bring food from farm to table. As farmers and ranchers, we care for, curse and coax our surroundings, and sometimes that's all on the same day. But this also means we get to experience Idaho in a very special way. That distinct experience is something we can share. In return, my hope is that we get to enjoy and learn from the tremendous community that is really elevating Idaho food. That's what we have right here in downtown Boise. Boise's talented chefs have shown exceptional commitment to sourcing and identifying local Idaho products on their menus. They play a vital role in elevating local food. Data tells us that consumers now spend more on food out of their home than they do in their home. So I am doubly grateful for our culinary community that appreciates all Idaho has to offer. Idaho's chefs are genuine and innovative in the way they approach not just feeding us, but also in teaching us. We have worked with a lot of chefs over the years, and I appreciate their support and loyalty to Idaho ingredients. Working together, there are great days ahead for Idaho agriculture and Idaho food. And I would suggest we just all need to eat, drink, and be merry. Thank you very much.
Okay, our next guest, Angela Taylor. It's common to see people sharing taste and sips of amazing food downtown. It's also common to see those groups led by Chief Indulge Officer of the very popular Indulge Boise Food Tours, Angela Taylor. Angela is a native Idahoan, a Stanford University graduate, and spent 20 years in the pro sports and entertainment industry before family and food brought her back to Boise. From Indulge Boise Food Tours, please welcome owner Angela Taylor. Before I turn it over to Angela, her favorite thing about downtown Boise, she says it's everything you want in a city. Arts, great food, shopping, but still feels like a town where people connect with familiarity and courtesy. Welcome, Angela.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Wait. One more time. Wait, let me reiterate, the bar is open. So, good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? All right, fantastic. It is truly an honor and a pleasure to be here today. I'd like to thank Lynn and your staff and the Downtown Boise Association Board for inviting me to be part of today, but also for bringing this conversation to the table. Literally and figuratively. It's been such an incredible journey for me coming back to Boise recently to see the thriving culinary community that we have here in the Treasure Valley. And it's something that I felt growing up in Mountain Home was improbable, right? Because there was no culinary scene in Mountain Home. It was Dairy Queen and Tiger Den. And that 55-mile-an-hour speed limit made Boise seem like it was about 6 hours away. But I've been away for about 30 years, and in those 30 years, I grew to really appreciate what was going on here in downtown Boise through the food. When I would come back to visit my parents who are still in Mountain Home, I would have lunch with my best friend Mary from high school, and we'd go to the Brick Oven Beanery and have soup. Some people remember that, right? Or maybe we'd go listen to some live music and sit and have a steak at Chandler's. Yeah, that too. And then perhaps maybe we just do a little people watching outside at Angels. And by the sound of things in this room, I think many of you guys had some of those similar moments as well. But I could never have imagined that we would see this thriving culinary scene here in downtown Boise when I left Mountain Home 30 years ago. And when I returned 3 years ago, I had to figure out some way for me to tell the story. And for many of you that have traveled and have met people that are not from Idaho or Boise, right, you get those same questions over and over, right? So, potatoes, right? Did you live on a farm? And so I felt like I had to dispel all those myths, right? There is electricity. We don't all live on farms. There are cell phone towers available. And it's a really amazing place to live for a number of reasons. But one of the reasons for me was what was happening here in the downtown corridor. For me, as I traveled the world and I thought about the places that I fell in love with, there was always a connection to food. So whether it was the Penne Arrabbiata in a nice little corner bistro in Florence, or it was the chocolate croissants at a cafe on the Champs-Élysées, or the cheese bread in Rio, the places I loved, it was all connected to food. And so when I was always having these conversations with people as I was traveling about why I loved Idaho, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, it was upon my return when I realized what was going on here in the downtown corridor. It was those memories of sitting at Angels and laughing and talking. It was those memories of spending time with your friends and family over food. And so I had to figure out some way for me to connect with that and to tell that story, to share it not just with locals, but with visitors to this great city. And so I decided 3 years ago to launch Indulge Boise Food Tours. And I gotta tell you, the journey has been more than I could have ever expected. And it's shown me the reason why all of us in this room love Boise. And a few of those reasons, first and foremost, was I came back and I thought I knew I was going to be able to have a steakhouse and probably a pub or a bar on the tour, but I wasn't sure how expansive the options would be to be able to create tour experiences. But after returning home one day and trying some clothes on and talking to my mother, who's from the South, get it? She's from Texas. Anytime I talk about clothes, she's like, Angela, you need to eat more food, right? She's always trying to shove more food on my plate. For the first time in my entire life, she was silent. Right? And I was like, wait a minute, Mom, what's going on? She's like, well, you have been eating out a lot there in downtown, right, getting ready for those tours. And that was quite a surprise, was that there's so many different restaurants that are emerging here in downtown Boise. And so it's been quite a joy to launch Indulge Boise. And I think some of the things that have been special to me, it's not just about the food, it's about the connections. It's about the innovation that's taking place here, and it's about the collaboration, which you don't see in many places. I've lived all over the world, and I've tried to live in that downtown corridor, but things that are taking place here in Boise, particularly in the culinary industry, don't happen everywhere. There's stories such as when I launched a tour in 2016, one of our first guests on the tour was a 10-year-old girl from Indiana. She was here visiting her aunt and uncle and with her grandmother. And so she took the tour. She's a foodie. And so as we were going around to the different restaurants, the chefs and the owners were inviting her back into the kitchen to show her the kitchen. And I received an email from her grandmother a couple months later, and she said, you know what? She wants to start her own little food tour in South Bend, Indiana. right? She loved what was going on in Boise. Does that happen everywhere, is what she asked her grandmother after she left the tour. And then there was a couple that had been married for 27 years. They're local. They've lived here most of their lives, hadn't spent a lot of time in downtown, and figured that the tour was a great way to capture downtown. And at the end of the tour, the husband came up to me and he said, "Angela, I've learned more about my wife than I have in years on this tour." Like, the conversations, it's true. The conversations we have during the tour, the connections that we have, whether you know the different people that are on the tour or at your table, at the restaurant with you or not, there's so much that we connect to around food, and it's pretty incredible. And so I am honored today to be able to share those stories with you. It's not just from my perspective. We're going into our third year of doing these tours. We're continuing to grow. There's so many restaurants that are coming online. The chefs that we're having conversations with in these restaurants, their perspective, their greatness in the kitchen is just something that is quite profound. And I think that we are all proud of what's taking place here in the Treasure Valley. And I know that Lynn shared some data earlier, so I'm going to do my own little poll here. How many of you guys like to eat? Couple. I see some hands that aren't up yet, so I'm going to question those. How many of you have been to a downtown restaurant in the last week or two? Excellent, excellent. How many of you, because I am starving now that we're talking about food for the last hour, how many of you guys are going to head to a downtown restaurant after tonight's event? Many of you, I hope you do, because that's what's going to take for us to continue to thrive. When we look at different places around the country, Portland or Seattle or Austin, it's all about local supports, right? It cannot happen if we don't support those restaurants and those restaurateurs to make sure that they're keeping their doors open and they're continuing to be able to serve us fantastic food. So I encourage you, whenever you can, and just not if you can't cook like I do, because that's how I eat, is I have to eat out all the time. But whenever you can, please go down to all of these restaurants. There's a lot of new concepts coming on online all the time, and it's quite remarkable what's taking place here in the Treasure Valley. But don't just hear it from me. I want you guys to hear it from those who are on the front lines, those that are really producing the food that sits on the table for us that we can enjoy with our friends and family. So I'm going to invite up a few of the panelists today for today's conversation. And as I introduce them, I would love for you guys to take a moment just to give them a round of applause. But before I do so, they're going to bring some chairs up here on stage. Anyone who is in the audience that either works for a restaurant or a retail shop or is a chef, please stand up and let's give them a hand. There are some incredible people here, and in every conversation that you have, there's an interesting sense of collaboration, right? You'll go to one restaurant and they'll say, "Hey, you know what, I was talking to Sarah and David Kelly when I was getting ready to start the tours, and they suggested that I go down and meet Michael and Anne-Marie at Wild Root because they were doing some great things." And that's what's happening here. There's this sense of collaboration and cooperation that's really quite unique. So I'm going to bring up a couple of unique people to the stage to tell their stories. So first, if you will, I'm going to bring up Matt Gilkerson. Matt has been involved in Boise's food startup industry in some capacity for over 10 years. Currently, Matt works for Trailhead Boise as the programs manager. It's a nonprofit co-working space on 8th Street in downtown. One of the many programs he oversees is Trail Mix, which Mayor Beater talked about a little bit earlier. Trail Mix is Boise's first food product startup pitch competition that started last year during Boise Startup Week. It was phenomenal. The inaugural event boasted more than 50 local food companies, including 5 finalists that competed for a cash prize and shelf space at Albertsons. Matt has lived and worked in downtown Boise for the past 6 years, and he says that one of his favorite things about downtown is the community it fosters, and he loves seeing people he knows at just about every corner. Matthew Gilkerson. Next, I'd like to invite up Robin Kelly. Robin was born into a family-owned, and you saw her on the video earlier, into a family-owned fruit orchard. She grew up selling delicious tree-ripe fruit, sometimes to very discerning women who were friends of her grandmothers. Today, Robin and her sister now own Kelly's Canyon Orchard, the same fruit orchard established by their great-grandfather in 1908. It's located in the Snake River Canyon just outside of Twin Falls. Robin's favorite thing about downtown is its walkability with different things to see on every corner. Thanks. Welcome, Robin. Next up is Nate Whitley. Nate is a Boise native who returned to his hometown to put down roots after spending some time traveling and living abroad. Nate has become well known and respected as the chef at the Modern Hotel and Bar, where he's been since 2012. Nate's favorite thing about downtown Boise is the concentration of business and energy. He says he loves that Boise has managed to largely avoid the urban sprawl we see elsewhere and develop a downtown where you can walk easily from one great place to another. Nate Whitley. And wrapping up a place that I frequent quite a bit from the Still is Casey Allen. Casey Allen is the co-founder of The Still, a custom-crafted ice cream shop that opened in Bodo in 2017. The Still stands for the sweetest thing in life, which ice cream certainly is. The Still combines unique homemade ice cream flavors with beer and wine pairings, booze-infused, and vegan options. Many flavors include locally sourced ingredients. Casey is a native Boisean and has spent his career at the intersection of entrepreneurship, marketing, branding, customer service, and sales. His favorite thing about downtown Boise, patios. To sit on a patio in beautiful Boise weather, enjoying delicious food and drinks is absolutely fantastic. Casey Allen. So I'm going to start the conversation with Robin. And many of you guys probably, those of you who's particularly on social media, you probably see the hashtag local, eat local Boise, local this, local that, buy local, support local. I'm curious what local really means. From you, from being a producer here in the state, what does local mean to you?
Thank you. Well, I'm very glad to have Celia top it off because local, I'm just going to give a flat out answer. Local, and the definition of foodies is 100 miles. And with the state of Idaho being so agriculturally rich, we're very fortunate because within 100 miles, you can get to a lot of places and eat local. And the best thing is that the local is coming to you in our farmers markets and our restaurants. And so the locality is 100 miles, but think about where you can get within 100 miles. And think about how many producers are coming to you on a daily basis. And transportation is a huge thing for all of us. And so the locality of agriculture based to the urban hub of Boise and the Treasure Valley is a truly wonderful and unique thing.
Thank you. Well, speaking of local, Nate, I know that you and at the Modern, you guys are committed to supporting local. If you just look at their website and see all of the different businesses that you support, so from Peaceful Bellies, Sweet Valley Organics, Water Wheel Gardens, Purple Sage Farms, Next Generation Organics, Snake River Poultry, the list goes on and on and on. So why is it important to you as a chef and to the Modern Hotel and Bar to source locally?
All right, thank you. The biggest thing I think is the transparency and also the personal connections we can make working with producers in that just small community. And so that helps us build our menu, just learning firsthand what the products are and then going from there.
Great. Well, continuing on that theme with Casey, so I whenever the sun is out, I find my way to the Still to have some ice cream. And what I love about what you guys do is there's constantly some sort of representation on your menu from another local producer or another local company or restaurant. What's important to you about local sourcing?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, way more people when you're sitting in the front row from when you're up here. So thanks for having us, but
Right.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we are always trying to incorporate other local businesses, whether they be, 100 miles away or whether they be right here in our neck of the woods. So we've done partnerships and hopefully everyone gets a chance. We have some ice cream for you guys afterwards here. And one of those is we've got, we use Dawson Taylor's espresso in our coffee ice cream. We've done collaborations with Guru Donuts. We've collaborated, now I'm going to blank on all of these, but with our beer and wine aspect, we are constantly using beer from Lost Grove or from Payette and from all these different Woodland Empire and things like that to just highlight these different partnerships. And I think that everyone ends up kind of benefiting when one of their favorite producers of one thing combines with their favorite producer of another thing, and they can kind of collaborate on an exciting new thing that whether both places can kind of highlight it or whether it's just one place, whether it's our place or their yeah, and people just seem to enjoy that, and it builds both audiences. And I think that overall, it just allows us to highlight what Boise and what Idaho has to offer in a way that people get really excited about. So we've enjoyed it.
Well, I know oftentimes in this industry and other markets, right, everyone doesn't always benefit. And Matthew, I want to throw it to you from a trailhead standpoint is, last year you launched Trail Mix, a pitch competition for food startups, and we're right here on the Simplot campus. And I think that when we think about food here in Boise, the Treasure Valley or Idaho, we think about Simplot, right? I know I ate a lot of French fries when I was traveling the world because I was supporting Idaho. Right? We think about Albertsons, but I think that there's another story that we want to tell. We want to continue to turn the page and to continue to write our story, and some of that is in the innovators, the new entrepreneurs that are coming into the space. What are some of the things that you're doing, whether it's with Trail Mix or at Trailhead, to encourage this disruption of what's going on here locally?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. As you mentioned, and I thank you, the mayor, for pointing it out as well, Trail Mix last October was a huge success, and it was really through working with these large organizations that you mentioned, Albertsons being the title sponsor of this event, and the winner of the event won shelf space at Albertsons stores. Being the second largest privately held company in the country, it was really phenomenal to work with them and really partner with them to showcase these young budding entrepreneurs, specifically in the food product entrepreneurial space. It was really amazing in this inaugural pitch competition to work with over 50 local and regional food product startups, and I was personally blown away. Angela mentioned I've been in the food industry prior to my role here at Trailhead, and really partnering with large organizations, businesses, many of which are in this room now, to give back and foster that innovation is vital and showcased through this event.
Well, and what is vital is like the creativity, but it's challenging, right? I think that for many of us who are consuming the final product, and for me at the end of the ecosystem, is we benefit from all the hard work that you guys are doing, but it's not easy. The margins are thin, right? There's a lot of challenges, whether it's the atmosphere, et cetera. Like, what are some of those challenges? Robin, I'll start with you. What are some of the challenges that you face on a regular basis, and what do you do to try to overcome those obstacles?
Well, I said the big T word earlier, and that is transportation. And you know what fuel prices are like. You know what it means to drive your car from here to there. My biggest barrier to working with anybody in this room is getting my product to you. And there are some ingenious ways to try to work around that, and some of it is just the reality. I will say that this man has come to see me at market. That is the best hub for anybody that's in my position. I'm talking to you as consumers, I'm relaying my story. I am able to tell you when my product was picked, what you can do with it, what my favorite thing is, how long it's gonna sit in the shelf. And every conversation I'm having with a consumer, I get to have with my chef too, and give him or her ideas of what to do and how they can parlay it to a plate and connect it to you. And food is really personal. It's very personal. And what I like, you won't like, but if I like it, you better like it because I know my product. But I am 100 miles away. And if I'm coming to town and you know I'm coming to town, find out where I am, because I will stop for you if I'm already on the way. And transportation for anybody that is my size. If you're working through Cisco, if you're working through somebody else, they are your transportation hub. But nobody in my shoes or anybody that these guys are working with can drop food at your doorstep on a regular basis. It's just infeasible. And I will tell you that Miss Celia does her job very well, but she also does job for me too. She delivers stuff for me. We are land neighbors, and guess what? She's brought apples to town for me in order for me to make a sale in October when I'm not running that road every day. And most recently, she ran my baby fruit trees. I was short 10. I counted wrong. It happens. And she delivered my baby fruit trees so my guys could plant them. So transportation is a real thing. And if I'm going to leverage Celia, who's got a big fat job every day of her life, but she's running, I'm going to call that person. So that's why the farmers markets, and that's why going to your local chefs and understanding what product they're bringing in and leveraging what you can do here. And then also, if you want to have that farm experience, go have it. Go have it.
Go have it. Yes, definitely. Go have it. Well, Nate, you know, if I think about the modern, I think of a high-end dining experience. And the one thing I know for sure, when I would come back to visit my friends and family, my father loves IHOP, and I know Chief Bones is in the audience, and in fact, he just told me moments before the program that my father met him at IHOP already this week, right? So trying to get people, right, that just want to go to chain restaurants or whatever to explore and go beyond, to try like higher end food or different types of food. Like, what are some of the challenges that you've seen in trying to get new people in your doors?
I do think there's initially some reluctance, but we've been fortunate just trying to do our own thing, and we're kind of in a small niche at the Modern, so we're not burdened by any expectations, and that's helped us a lot. And then once you get known for that, it's kind of easy and important to continue.
Well, and how do you foster your culinary perspective? So what is the Modern story, and how do you keep that going?
Well, really, I try to make it as much about the product as possible, and that's where things like the markets are so important, because, again, with the personal connections, we can go directly to the market, talk to the producers, see what's available, and then if you make it about those products, it's easy to come up with the menu and to be creative with that template.
Right, great.
Yeah.
Well, and I think another thing that's really prevalent here in downtown Boise is like single focus retailers. So ice cream shops or coffee shops or peanut shops. I think we saw Dan from City Peanut. How important are single focus retailers, Casey, to the downtown culinary scene?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm biased here, but I think they're vital, right? and we have another single focus in the house, and she was acknowledged earlier for being on the board, but we just recently did an event over at Meriwether Cider House, and I think 32nd cider house in the nation is right here in downtown Boise, which is pretty cool. And we did a cider floats for First Thursday, and so you have two kind of single focus retailers coming together to do one event. And that event, I mean, I don't think I'm exaggerating at all when I say it crushed. I mean, it was insane how many glasses. I think we did like 200 cider floats in a couple hours. It was pretty nuts. And so, I think that what single focus allows us to do is focus, right? And is really dial in what our product is and be able to focus on creating the highest quality product that we can, using the highest quality ingredients that we can, leveraging those partnerships and those collaborations with other local producers and chefs, and just bring that all together and put forward the best product we can. And when you talk about challenges, one of our biggest challenges in the beginning was we try to toe the line between having this accessible menu and this unique menu. So we want to push the envelope a little bit with our ice cream flavors and make them something that maybe you've never seen before in ice cream, but at the same time not make it so off the wall that you're turned off and that you don't want to try it. And so working with these other local producers, when we go to a brewery or a winery or cidery or a donut shop, or we work with a farm and we pull in their fruit, anything like that, we are talking with them and saying, how can we push the edge but still highlight your flavors, right? Still stay true to what you want to focus on and what you want to bring forward, and yet also deliver a unique experience to the end user who's ultimately going to be buying that product.
Awesome. Well, I can continue this conversation, but I think everyone's probably getting hungry. We're going to do one last round and have each of you answer this question. While we have a captive audience, many of whom raised their hands and said that they're going to be shopping downtown and eating downtown in the very, very near future, what are some things that you would like to challenge the audience to do to continue to support not just your business, but all businesses in the food industry?
So I can't just say go eat dinner and then get ice cream, but go eat dinner and then get ice cream. There you go. And my favorite thing about downtown Boise was patios, and I love how many amazing patios, and we're approaching patio season, so camp out on a patio, grab a drink, grab some food, grab some dessert, and just enjoy yourselves and enjoy your company.
Thank you. Nate?
All right, yeah, and I would say just keep getting out and trying new things, trying new places. There's a lot of new places opening, seems like in downtown, so just keep supporting those.
I really like the thought of inquiry and to ask the question. Ask your friends, where are you going? What are you eating? And also, when you're in that establishment, what's local? Where'd you get it from? How'd you get it? And when you're shopping, go to the places that are peddling local stuff. And so that's Albertsons is doing a good job, Boise Co-op's doing a good job, and go to your farmers markets. And when you're going to your eateries, look at their menus and find out what they're selling. Clear Springs, Agri-Beef, Snake River Farms, that's where Celia's meat's going. If I don't get it straight from Celia's family, I have to go buy it too. So I'm always finding out what's local. If you're shopping in Costco, I'm a shopper at Costco, but guess what? Peaches and cherries aren't in season, people. They're just not. And so use your brains, use your method of inquiry of finding out what region we live in for seasonality, and ask around. And then if you don't know, come to the farmer's market. And if you don't see it at market, it ain't growing yet. It's just not. And I will be happy to talk to you about what is in season at any moment.
That's awesome.
I would just say support your local entrepreneurial scene, specifically in the food space. If you're at all interested in learning more about Trail Mix or Trailhead, we're just a stone's throw away on the corner of 8th and Myrtle, and we have an informational session a week from Friday the 26th, where the winner of last year's competition will be there, as well as Albertsons executives. And come find me after if you have any questions. And thank you, Angela, and the board panel for your time.
Awesome. Thank you. So find patios and eat, seasonality, ask questions, and check out Trail Mix. Thank you to the panel for your insight. So again, I encourage you guys, there's so many amazing places to dine out in downtown Boise. So I encourage you, and I look forward to seeing many of you at those restaurants here in the near future.